today's project, you will need your scissors, you will need a glue stick, you'll need a large sheet of blue paper, you'll need a half sheet of white paper, a small sheet of brown paper, some different colored strips of green paper, and a few assorted colors. It's a bonus if you have some googly eyes laying around, but if you don't, that's okay. I'll show you how to make some eyes. For our first step, we're going to concentrate on the environment, so you're going to need your pair of scissors, you're going to need your large sheet of blue paper, you're going to need your half sheet of brown paper, and you're going to need your strips of green paper, and you can set the rest of the things aside for now. For the next step, we want to create some seaweed, so we're going to take our strips of green paper and you can stack them up on top of each other so you can cut more than one out at once. You stack them up on top of each other and you're going to cut long strips that come to a point, so you can make them wavy, you can do whatever you want, but they need to come to a point. And you can use as many pieces of paper as you want and just cut out random strips of seaweed. Now that I'm finished cutting my seaweed, I'm going to set it aside and I'm going to use the brown piece of paper and I'm going to cut out a few random rock shapes. So you can make these look like small mountains as you cut across, but you might want to save some of your brown just in case you want to cut out an otter or a seal. So there we go. There's one rock. I'm going to save just that piece. And I'm going to cut out another rock. I can pretty much use all the paper because as I cut one rock, it forms the top of another rock. It's a good corner piece, and I think that's enough rocks for me. Alright, next we're going to cut out some fish. To make fish, you're going to need your random sheets of paper, and you're probably going to need a number 2 pencil, I forgot to tell you, but that'll probably come in handy. For my example, I'm going to use the white sheet of paper because it'll show up the easiest and you'll be able to see what I'm doing. So the first thing I'm going to want to do is fold my piece of paper in half. Now, I might not want to make a fish that's this big. I might want to make a smaller fish, so I'm going to cut this in half, and I want my whole fish to be about that big. So that's how big I'm going to cut my piece of paper. Alright, I'm going to set the other 2 aside because I can probably make more fish out of those. So the first step is I'm going to want to fold my piece of paper. I'm going to do that from the top down. Fold my piece of paper. It doesn't really matter, you just need to fold it in half. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the crease on the bottom, so that'll be the center of my fish, and I'm going to draw the shape of half a fish. So I'm going to first start with kind of a round body shape that comes to a point. And don't worry about drawing on this because you can just flip over your shape when you cut it out. And then I want to give it a tail. So the tail you can get creative with. You can make it short and small, or you can make it curvy. I'm going to do a little bit of curve on my tail. And now I'm going to just cut along the line and hopefully I'll come out with a fish. So you can just cut along the line. And you see I didn't make the circle touch, because if I made the circle touch, I would just cut the tail right off. So go around and you cut up. And then once you unfold it, there you have yourself a fish. And you can make, at this point you can change the shape of the tail a little bit if you wanted to. You make it skinnier at the bottom. There you got yourself a little fish. You can also make a fish with a fin. You do that the same way, but you would fold your piece of paper in half. Make sure you have the crease side as the center of your fish. You're going to draw a similar shape, the half circle. And then you're going to draw the tail. Some fish have crazy tails, so I'm going to draw a tail like this. And then I'm going to put a fin on the top. Now usually the fins start in the towards their back. So I'm going to draw a fin like so. So now when I cut this shape out, I'm going to go around the fin. And there's all sorts of different fish in the sea, all sorts of different shapes and sizes, and fish that we don't even know about yet. So if your fish looks not like a fish, it probably looks like some sort of fish. All right, almost done cutting this out. There we go. And now, oh, that doesn't look like a fish, but it sure probably looks like some sort of fish. Now I'm going to make the bottom fin a little bit smaller, because usually they have small fins on the bottom. And I'm going to just clean him up a little bit so he looks more like a fish. And give him more of a mouth or head. All right, and there you go, you have another fish. Now, once you've finished cutting your fish out, you can draw eyes on them, and you can also color them if you have markers laying around. You can also give them gills, fins, and patterns if you'd like to. Now that I've finished cutting out and decorating my fish, I can set up my underwater habitat however I'd like. I am fortunate enough to have a school district that has a die cut machine, so I went down to the district office and I got a few things cut out. I got a black seal cut out, I got a neat red crab cut out, I got a yellow trout, I have a cute little brown otter, and I have a blue whale. So I was able to use the resources at my district office to cut these out. If you don't have these resources, you can print out images off the internet and put them in there, or you can cut them out of a magazine. But now I'm going to set everything up and glue everything down where I want it. I'm pretty happy with that. I didn't get to use my trout, but that's okay. I'm going to glue everything down now, and then I'm going to get ready for the last and final step. Alright, now that I'm all done gluing everything down, I can trim the edges and clean it up a little bit. So I'm just going to cut off the edges. So if you have access to a laminator, I would laminate these and make these cool placemats so you can practice good recycling techniques to keep our oceans clean. But since I'm going to use this as a piece of art in my room, I'm going to take out my googly eyes and I'm going to add them to my picture. So I'm going to give my whale a googly eye. I'm going to give my seal a googly eye. I'm going to give my otter 2 googly eyes. And I'm going to give my crab 2 googly eyes. And then it'll make a nice picture that I can hang up in my room. Alright, well, I hope you liked this project. Till next week, bye.